The cafeteria was full of noise till the milk carton hit Maya's face. Cameras were out. Laughter erupted. But what none of them knew was that Maya Brooks wasn't going to let it end there. Maya Brooks walked into Jefferson High's cafeteria, the same way she did every day, shoulders slightly hunched, tray in both hands, and earbuds tucked in just enough to drown out the noise. She wasn't invisible, not really. People saw her, but most didn't look. Her afro puff was soft and thick, gathered neatly and proudly at the crown of her head. Mustard yellow sweater hugged her shoulders over a crisp white collar, and her dark blue skinny jeans contrasted against the polished linoleum floors. Her white Converse sneakers squeaked faintly with each step. She scanned the tables. Everyone had their cliques. The cheerleaders with loud laughs and overlined lips, the jocks tossing grapes across the table, the debate team whispering over caffeine. Maya didn't belong to any of them. She usually sat near the window. Quiet. Peaceful. That's what she wanted. Just one peaceful lunch, where no one stared, laughed, or whispered. But today, peace was too much to ask. Dylan Sykes watched her. The moment she entered, tall, broad-shouldered, with a buzzcat and smirk that screamed trouble. His red varsity jacket hung off his chair like a crown. His posse of followers, mostly boys who fed on chaos, were already giggling. She looks like she stuck her head in a microwave. Dylan muttered loud enough for his table to burst out laughing. Maya heard it. She always heard it, but she kept walking. Quiet dignity, that's what her mom always told her to hold on to. She reached the end of the lunch line, grabbing apple slices and a juice box, then made her way to her usual table. That's when Dylan stood up, tray in hand. "Hey, cotton ball," he called out. Maya froze. Every head nearby turned. Phones tilted upward. Lenses blinked to life. "Where are you going with that hair?" Dylan continued. "Cleaning the floor for us?" Some kid snorted. Maya's throat tightened. She took a deep breath and kept walking. That's when the first grape hit her shoulder. She flinched. Then came a crumpled napkin, then a milk carton thrown with just enough force that it hit her square in the side of the face. The liquid soaked into her curls instantly. Her afro sagged under the weight. Her sweater darkened with the splash. Her tray clattered to the floor. The entire cafeteria gasped. Someone laughed. Another filmed. No one moved. And Dylan, he just grinned. "Oops." Stood frozen for a moment, milk dripping down her face. Her breathing slowed, but her eyes, her dark, powerful eyes, locked with Dylan's. Then she bent down and picked up her tray. Silently, dignified. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She walked to the bathroom as everyone watched her go. Their silence louder than the laughter. The moment Maya entered the girls' bathroom, she dropped the tray and clutched the sink. She couldn't look in the mirror, not yet. Her stomach twisted. Her fingers trembled. She turned on the faucet and splashed water on her face. Her curls, her beautiful curls, were clumped and dripping. Her white shirt was ruined. Her sweater, soaked. Her best friend Rosa burst in moments later. Rosa was all fire-long dark braids swinging behind her, fists clenched. "Maya, I swear I will knock that smug smile off his." Maya held up a hand. Don't. "Maya, he humiliated you in front of the whole school. Are you okay?" No, Maya finally looked up at the mirror. Her reflection startled her. But not because of how she looked, because of how clear everything suddenly felt. "No, I'm not okay," she repeated. But I'm done pretending." Rosa blinked. "What do you mean?" "I'm not going to hide anymore." Morning, Maya Brooks sat silently in the back seat of her mom's Toyota, staring out the window as they approached Jefferson High. Her afro puff was tighter. Her sweater was fresh, but her heart beat like war drums in her chest. She hadn't slept. Not really. All night her phone buzzed with notifications, and her name trended across local hashtags. Justice for Maya. Osh, Chag stand with. Maya hashtag stand with. Maya hashtag Dylan exposed the video someone captured of Dylan. Within 12 hours, it had been reposted by influencers, civil rights advocates, and even a popular black hair care brand. her face shocked. Humiliated froze on thousands of phone screens. But the comments weren't all pity. Some people were. Angry, others were inspired, and Maya, she felt like she was spinning inside a washing machine. "Baby," her mom said gently, glancing at her from the driver's seat. "You don't have to go in today if you're not ready." "I have to," Maya said quietly. "He's still walking those halls like nothing happened," her mom sighed. "Just remember who you are, Maya. You are more than their cruelty, your power, your purpose." Maya didn't speak. She didn't have to. She just nodded, gripped the strap of her backpack, and opened the door. The moment she stepped on campus, all eyes turned. Whispers flowed. Some students nodded at her. Others looked away in shame. A few tried to act like nothing had happened. Maya, someone, called it was Mr. Jennings, her homeroom teacher. A tall, middle-aged man with kind eyes and coffee breath. He leaned in. "No. If you need anything today, anything at all, you come find me. That boy's got a storm coming. Trust me."
Thanks.
Maya said. She wasn't used to people standing. Up for her, in the cafeteria, it was different now. Gone was the jeering and laughing. The noise had softened. The same students who once pulled out their phones to film her humiliation now looked ... awkward, guilty, Dylan. However, was nowhere in sight. Dylan Sykes had never walked into school feeling small before. But today, everything was different. He tried to keep his swagger, slinging his varsity jacket over one shoulder as he moved through the parking lot. But the moment he reached the front doors, the energy hit him like a wave. People weren't smiling at him. They weren't laughing with him. They were whispering, filming. Pointing, his phone buzzed again. Hundreds of DMs, thousands of comments, hate mail, report threats. Even his football coach had left a voicemail. "You better hope this dies down. Before playoffs, or you're benched." When he passed the front office, Principal Larson was waiting. She stepped into the hallway and crossed her arms. "Mr. Sykes." "My office." Now, he froze. "For what?" She narrowed her eyes. "Don't act surprised." And just like that, the door slammed shut behind him. Meanwhile, Maya walked the hallway like a queen rising from ashes. Rosa walked by her side like a guard dog, whispering updates. Over 3 million views now. "Did you see the one repost from that activist with the blue check? They called you a symbol of resistance? Girl, you're literally a movement right now." "I didn't want to be a movement," Maya muttered. "I just wanted to eat lunch." "Yeah, and he made it a battleground. Now, people are finally seeing what girls like us go through." When they reached their lockers, a girl Maya had never spoken to stepped forward. She was white, with long blonde curls and tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said, "for laughing. I didn't think. I didn't know it would blow up like that." Maya stared at her. It wasn't funny even if it didn't. "Blow up." The girl nodded, ashamed. I know now." Maya walked away. Rosa closed behind. "Your silence is gone," Rosa whispered. "People are finally listening." 3 days after the incident, a blue flyer appeared on Jefferson High's community board. Stapled neatly under the upcoming events section, "Emergency School Board Hearing. Public testimonies welcomed Friday. 6 p.m. the fine print listed the reason in small bold letters: alleged student misconduct, incident involving racial bullying. By noon, every hallway buzzed with speculation. In the library, Maya stared at the flyer on her phone screen, Rosa's elbow digging into her side. This is it. They're actually doing something. "You should speak," Rosa said. Maya shook her head slowly. "That's not me." "Not yet," Rosa said. "But that girl who stood up after getting humiliated in front of everyone, she is." Maya sighed and locked her phone. Her mind was a storm, half fury, half fear. The idea of sitting in front of a room full of adults and reliving the worst moment of her life made her want to disappear. But so did the idea of staying silent. Meanwhile, in a quiet office across campus, Dylan sat rigid across from Principal Larson. His football jacket hung on the back of the chair like a relic of former glory. "We've reviewed the video," The disciplinary committee is convening, she said. Dylan looked at the floor. This is stupid, I was joking. She was salted. Her in front of 200 witnesses, Mr. Sykes, Larson said coldly. This isn't about jokes anymore. You've been suspended from team activities indefinitely. And if the board rules against you, you could be expelled. He stared at her. Expelled? That's insane. I've never even been written up before. And yet here we are, she said, sliding a packet across the desk. This is your notice to appear Friday night. You have the right to speak in your defense. His hands trembled slightly. For the first time he understood. This wasn't going away. By Thursday, Maya had made up her mind. She was going to speak. Her mom helped her practice, setting up a small podium in their living room. Rosa helped her trim down her speech, reading it aloud until the words felt like armor in Mr. Jennings. He showed up to school Friday morning in a dashiki. I want you to know, told Maya with a warm smile, that not everyone is afraid to stand beside truth. Not every teacher was as brave. Some stayed quiet. Others grumbled in private about things going too far in cancel culture in schools. But Maya kept walking tall, head high, afro puff round and bold. She wore a maroon blazer over her collared shirt, that Friday sharp, mature, undeniable. Her mother had sewn a tiny pin onto the lapel. My voice matters. And people noticed. Rosa walked beside her, hands full of printed hashtags. We're handing these out to everyone before the meeting. Solidarity, you know, students whispered. In corners, some asked to take pictures with Maya. One teacher even offered to drive her to the hearing if her mom couldn't. As the clock inched towards 6 p.m., a line formed outside the gymnasium where the hearing would take place. Local reporters stood by with cameras. A microphone was set up at a podium. Folding chairs filled the basketball court. Maya stepped into the room, heart pounding, eyes alert, and there. Across the gym sat Dylan, his one sure expression now pale, his dad whispering urgently in his ear. The room buzzed. The board sat behind a long table, 5 members in formal blazers and stern expressions, and just like that, it began. The gymnasium buzzed with the low hum of murmured voices. Folding chairs creaked beneath students, teachers, and parents. Phones sat ready in trembling hands. The school board sat upright at their long table, faces tight, eyes tired. Principal Larson stood beside them with a legal pad in her hand. Then the moderator's voice echoed through the loudspeakers. We now open the floor to student testimony. First to speak, Maya Brooks. There was a beat of silence, then soft clapping. Maya stood. Her maroon blazer fit perfectly. Her silver stud earrings caught the overhead lights. Her afro puff was neatly shaped and firm, like a crown. Every step she took toward the microphone echoed across the polished gym floor. Dylan shifted in his seat, hands clenched. He could feel his father's anger pressing against his shoulder. Maya reached the microphone. She looked out over the crowd, hundreds of faces, some hopeful, some nervous, some unsure. She took a slow breath. Her voice was quiet, but it didn't tremble. My name is Maya Brooks. I'm 16. I've been a student at Jefferson High. Since freshman year, I love science. I love poetry. And 3 days ago, I got humiliated in front of this entire school. A hush spread through the room. I was mocked for the way I look. It's for my hair. It's for my skin. I was drenched in milk, pushed, laughed at. Not just by one student, but by a system that let it happen without blinking. Phones tilted up. Cameras flashed. Maya's eyes never left the crowd. What happened to me didn't start this week. This has been building. I've been ignored when I raised my hand. Watched when I walked into rooms. Whispered about when I wore my hair natural. And I'm not the only one. Murmurs rose from the student section. You don't have to throw milk to be part of the problem. You just have to be silent when someone else does. A girl in the back wiped her eyes. One of the board members leaned forward, elbows on the table. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for respect. For myself. For every student who's been made to feel like they don't belong. Maya took a step back from the mic. The crowd stared at her silent. Then Rosa stood up. She started clapping. Then another student. Then another. The gym filled with applause. It wasn't wild, wasn't loud. It was solid. The moderator tapped the mic. Next, Dylan Sykes. Maya walked back to her seat, Rosa hugging her tight. Her mom wiped away tears beside her. Dylan rose slowly. He walked stiffly, not looking at anyone. His voice into the microphone cracked slightly. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I thought it was like a joke. Dead silence. He swallowed. I didn't know it would blow up like this. Didn't mean to target her or whatever. A student coughed in the back. Another shook their head. But I guess, yeah, it was wrong. Board members didn't blink. Principal Larson stared down at her notes. Dylan stepped back. From the mic, no applause. No reaction. Only stillness. The room was thick with tension. Even the air felt heavier. Maya sat motionless in the second row, her fingers tightly interlocked in her lap. Dylan stared ahead, jaw locked, refusing to make eye contact with anyone. His father whispered something in his ear, but Dylan didn't respond. One of the school board members, a black woman with rimless glasses and braided hair tied back into a bun, adjusted her mic and cleared her throat. We've heard the testimony. We've seen the video footage. We've reviewed staff reports. Our job is to protect not just academic integrity, but human dignity on this campus. She paused and scanned the crowd. Therefore, it is the decision of the board that Dylan Sykes be placed on academic suspension for the remainder of the semester. He is removed from all school athletic programs indefinitely. Furthermore, he must complete racial sensitivity and anti-bullying training with a certified counselor before returning to school grounds. Gasps rippled across the gym, then whispers, then applause. Dylan's eyes widened. What? Suspension? You're kidding. Sit down, his father hissed, grabbing his elbow. But Dylan didn't sit. This is insane. She's the one who turned everyone against me. I'm the victim now. The crowd booed. Principal Larson stood from her seat. That's enough, Mr. Sykes. But Dylan wasn't done. He pushed past the row of chairs and stormed toward the doors. His voice rang out one last time before he vanished. You all picked the wrong side? The doors slammed behind him. The gym fell silent. Then someone stood. Rosa, correction, she said, loud and proud. We finally picked the right one. Applause erupted. Maya sat frozen for a moment, the sound crashing over her like waves. It felt like her heart had finally unclenched. Her eyes brimmed, but this time the tears weren't from shame. They were from release. Monday came with golden sunlight. In crisp October air, Maya stood at her locker, eyes flickering between books and hallway stairs. But the looks today weren't cold. They weren't mocking. They were curious, kind. For the first time since she arrived at Jefferson High, people saw her as more than just the quiet black girl with the puff. They saw Maya. Students she'd never spoken to offered shy smiles. One boy from the music club handed her a folded note that read, "Thank you for being brave. You changed this place." Even a teacher who once called her Michelle by mistake stopped in front of her and said, "Miss Brooks, I want to personally apologize for not standing up sooner." Maya's heart swelled. But she didn't say much. She didn't need. Rosa jogged up beside her, waving a flyer in her hand. "Look, the school's launching a student-led equity council. They want you to help build it." Maya blinked. "Me," Rosa laughed. "You're the reason it exists." The school auditorium was packed. Every seat filled. The faculty lined the back wall, arms folded, faces tight with anticipation. Rows of students whispered excitedly, their voices bouncing beneath the glowing stage lights. A banner stretched across the back of the stage. Student voices, courage, change. In community, Maya sat in the wings, gripping her note cards with fingers that wouldn't stop trembling. Her mother sat in the front row. Rosa stood beside her with a clipboard and a headset, officially recruited by the principal, as one of the event's student organizers. "You've got this," Rosa said, squeezing Maya's shoulder. "The world already heard you once. Now it's time to speak from power, not pain." Maya nodded. "No pressure, right?" Rosa grinned. all the pressure, but you're ready. Then a soft voice came from behind the curtain. Maya. She turned. A girl stepped forward. Petite. Light brown skin. Short curly hair. Nervous hands wringing the hem of her hoodie. Do you remember me? She asked. Maya blinked. Her memory flickered. Keisha. She whispered. The girl nodded. I transferred after middle school, before you got here. But Dylan did it to me too, only no one believed me back then. Maya's heart dropped. She never knew. He used to shove my books, knock my lunch off my tray, called me mudface when no teachers were around. Keisha's voice cracked. I thought I was the only one, until I saw your video. Stepped forward and hugged her. Tight. You weren't the only one, she whispered. You're never going to be the only one again. Moments later, Maya stepped onto the stage. The lights hit her face. Her blazer was navy this time, her afro puff slick and sculpted, silver earrings catching the shine. The crowd quieted. Phones. Rose. She stood tall and spoke clearly. When I first walked through these halls, I thought my silence would protect me. That if I kept my head down, no one would come for me. I was wrong. But I also learned something powerful. That the moment I spoke up, others stood up too. I found out I wasn't alone. I found strength I didn't know I had. The auditorium was still. This isn't just about one bully. It's about every hallway glance, every ignored hand, every time someone is made to feel like they don't belong. That ends now. Applause built slowly, then swelled into thunder. But just as Maya stepped back from the microphone, a loud voice rang out from the back of the auditorium. You're all hypocrites. Everyone turned. It was Dylan Herr Messier, but he half-sipped. He pushed past two teachers before a security guard stopped him at the aisle. You ruined my life for one dumb joke. I've been doxxed, kicked off the team, sent to a therapist stand. She's standing up here like some hero. Gasps echoed. Principal. Larson took the stage, grabbing the mic. Dylan Sykes, you were instructed not to enter school property. I just wanted them to hear me out, he shouted. But none of you ever cared about my side. A door opened behind him. Two officers stepped inside, calm but firm. Dylan's eyes darted, and he backed away. Whatever. You all deserve this fake show, he snapped before being escorted out. The auditorium remained silent for a long moment, then dash applause. This time, not just for Maya, but for what the school had become strong enough to reject. 3 days after the assembly, Maya's world shifted again. It arrived in a crisp white envelope, addressed in the school office, addressed in clean calligraphy. Maya Jefferson, student advocate. She opened it under Rosas's curious gaze, her hands trembling. Inside was thick stationery with a gold seal. Dear Miss Jefferson, we have watched your courageous stand for justice with admiration. Your resilience, leadership, and message have touched students across the nation. We would be honored to invite you to speak at the National Youth Civil Rights Summit in Washington, D.C. this April. Warm regards, Council on Student Equity and Justice, D.C. Planning Committee. Maya gasped. Rosa dropped her pencil. You're going to Washington? Maya blinked twice. This can't be real. But it was. Paragraphs 51 to 100. Preparing for a national stage. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. The school buzzed with excitement. Students asked for selfies in the halls. Teachers nodded with newfound respect. Even Principal Larson offered full support, helping Maya refine her speech and connecting her with civil rights mentors. Her mom cried when she told her. Your great-grandma would be so proud, she said. Maya's wardrobe shifted too. She now stood in front of cameras, local news, community podcasts, even a sit-down interview with a local black news outlet. She wore tailored earth-tone blazers, statement earrings, her hair in defined curls or slick puff buns. The message was clear. She belonged, but privately, doubt lingered. She'd stand before congressmen, before lawyers, before national leaders. What if I'm not ready? She whispered one night to Rosa. You don't need to be perfect, Rosa said. You just need to be you. And Maya. That's enough. When Maya arrived in D.C., the capital stood tall before her, like a giant made of white marble, an impossible history. She inhaled deeply. Inside the summit, students from every state had gathered. There were panels on racial justice, school policy, reform, youth leadership, and anti-bullying legislation. On the third day, during a break between panels, Maya spotted someone across the room, a girl with sharp braids, gold-rimmed glasses, and a scar just above her eyebrow. It was Asha from the video. The girl who stepped between Maya and Dylan when the tray flew. The girl who'd been pushed to. "You remember me?" Asha said, her voice softer than Maya expected. "Are you kidding?" Maya smiled wide. "You saved me?" Asha shrugged. "I just stepped up." They hugged tight. "You inspired me to speak at my school, too," Asha added. "Now I'm organizing walkouts. All because you didn't stay quiet." Maya's eyes welled. This wasn't just her journey anymore, Maya. Lay in her hotel bed in D.C., the glow of the city peeking through the window. Her speech lay printed beside her, marked with yellow highlighter and notes scribbled by mentors, but sleep wouldn't come. She kept thinking of the faces, Us's courage, Rose's loyalty, her mother's tears, and even Dylan's scowl as he was walked out of the cafeteria. She wasn't just telling her story tomorrow. She was carrying everyone's. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Better watch what you say tomorrow." Not everyone likes troublemakers with big mouths. Her stomach dropped. She showed the message to her mother. "You think it's Dylan?" "I don't know," her mom said, jaw tight. "But you are not backing down." She didn't. The day arrived. Inside the Capitol Conference Hall, over 1,000 people filled the seats. Students, educators, activists, senators, and journalists. Camera crews lined the back. The MC's voice echoed. And now, a young woman who turned a moment of cruelty into a movement of courage. "Please welcome Maya Jefferson." Applause thundered. Maya stepped up, hair curled into a high bun, gold hoops, a forest green blazer over a crisp white blouse. Her hands trembled on the podium, but her voice, steady. "I didn't choose to be bullied," she began, "but I chose to speak." She told them everything. The cafeteria, the tray, the racist slurs, her silent tears in the bathroom. Then her Rise the Assembly speech, the school reforms, the calls from across the country. "But this isn't just my story," she said. "This is what happens when a system looks the other way. When being different means being a target." People leaned forward. Some cried, "Even politicians." As she ended, "We are not troublemakers. We are truth-tellers." The room exploded in applause, but backstage, her phone vibrated again. "You think you won something? This isn't over this time." She screenshot the message and showed security. Within an hour, the Capitol's internal police were investigating. The story leaked. CNN and local outlets ran headlines like, "Teen civil rights speaker threatened before historic speech." "Black student leader won't be silenced." Social media exploded in support. #Stand with Maya trended for 48 hours. Maya stared at her phone, her fingers trembling. She'd been prepared for backlash from students. But not this. The file had already been deleted from the sender's account. She didn't know who leaked it, but they'd just dropped a bombshell. She replayed it. "Chef's just trying to make us all look bad." A scoff, a laugh. "I see her again. I swear all more laughter." A woman's voice chuckled. "Oh, Dylan, don't be too rough." Maya recognized it. Ms. Vickers, her homeroom teacher. She sat frozen in her room, mind racing. Her mom knocked softly. "You okay, baby?" Maya turned the screen toward her. The audio played. Her mother's face stiffened with every word. "Oh, ... no." Her voice shook. They were laughing. Maya nodded. They knew. It explained so much: the sideways glances, the excuses for Dylan, the way some teachers went silent when Maya passed them in the hallways. They'd been protecting him, or worse, cheering him on. That night, Maya posted a single sentence on social media. Turns out the cafeteria wasn't the only place the bullying happened. She didn't name names. Didn't need to. Within hours. The internet did its thing. Commenters dissected the audio, identified the voices, and connected them to school staff. Former students came forward with their own stories. Whispered bias, racist remarks in class, unequal punishments. By morning, #FireVickers was trending worldwide. But even as the truth surfaced, Maya felt no peace. Not when she received another anonymous text the next day. If you don't shut your mouth, we'll shut it for you. And this time, it came with a blurry photo of her walking home from school. Someone was watching her as Maya stood on the stage of her school's auditorium. Valedictorian sash draped over her shoulder, and the thunderous applause of hundreds. Echoing through the hall, she took a deep breath. The same cafeteria where her spirit had been tested now buzzed with pride and admiration. They tried to silence me, she said into the mic, her voice calm but fierce. But I learned that my voice wasn't just meant to speak up for MIT, was meant to spark change. In the front row sat her mother, beaming with tears, and beside her, a new principal who had fired every staff member exposed in the scandal. Dylan was long gone, expelled and forgotten, a reminder of what had been but Maya. Maya had become a symbol, not of victimhood, but of power, resistance, and transformation. And as the students rose in a standing ovation, Maya smiled not because she had survived, but because she had one.